Well, hello to all of you from around the world. I want to thank you for joining us for this great edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. You know me, I'm Westley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we're always glad you're here with us. We have a very special and amazing show for you today, and a very special guest coming up in just a second who I'll be introducing. But first, relationships. They are everywhere, and they are all different. But do we really ask the question, how can I improve these relationships? And when it comes to close romantic relationships, do I even understand the complexities of them? Or do we listen to what we hear from couples in movies and or on television, shock jocks and armchair therapists? Well, for a while now, I've been wanting to bring a special person in my life who's been doing this work as helping people in relationships for a long time. I mean, she's an expert with over 4 decades of experience. And so this is why I'm really, really happy that we're bringing a new monthly show to Soulivity Today, which is all about bringing you the expert information about navigating your personal relationships, especially your romantic ones. And we have the perfect person to help us. Melva Johnson is the co-founder of the Johnson Relationship Institute for Couples and the co-author of the book, Mining for Gold in Your Relationship, and the author of 10 Secrets to a Long-Lasting, Passionate Marriage. Now, she has more than 4 decades of experience as a psychotherapist, relationship educator, workshop leader, public speaker, co-author, and consultant. She has appeared with her late husband, Jesse, on local and national radio, as well as television shows, and been featured in numerous print media. And so it's my pleasure to welcome to Soulivity Today our relationship expert and guru, Melva Johnson. So glad that you're here with us. And for those of you who probably don't know, if you see a resemblance here, there's a reason why, because she's also my beautiful and fantastic mother. So, hi, Mom.
Hey, good morning to you.
And she got up early, y'all. So, this is a treat, and it's going to be a treat going forward. Mom, I'm so glad that you're here because you and Dad have helped out so many different people throughout your careers. Before he transitioned, I think it was something like 60 or 70 years of combined experience between the two of you, helping couples and families and even professional relationships as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, a little more than that because we were married 44 years too.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But who's counting?
Who's counting? Right? Today, we were talking about these beautiful things that revolve around how relationships provide opportunities for growth. And there's 3 specific things that you wanted to share with people that are stages in how all that looks. We'll also be answering questions from people later on in the show, but these are like really, really, really important for people to understand. Can you give us like the high level overview of why these 3 stages are important, and then we'll go into each one, separately through the rest of the show?
Yes, and I'm glad that you started off saying that relationships are complex because they are, and being able to share the 3 stages kind of gives the big picture of the dynamics of what's happening with couples. And of course, this happens in other relationships, but my specialty is working with couples. I love that whole thing about love and marriage. I just love it. So anyway, the 3 stages. So everybody knows about the romantic stage and how wonderful that is. And, actually it starts with the attraction to each other, and then you select each other, and then you become a couple, and then you have all of these warm feelings. If there's something that goes to the left with either partner, one partner maybe will say, oh yeah, that's frustrating, but I'll fix that when we get married. I made that mistake. And so that's the wonderful stage, and it lasts anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 years, or until the children come. And what happens is those feel-good hormones that were released in the beginning, they fade away, which takes us to stage 2. So some people call stage 2 the power struggle stage. That's when you start seeing things, you see that same thing that you saw before in your partner that you thought you were going to fix, and they're still doing it. And also some of the things that you really enjoyed start becoming annoying, frustrating. And what most people don't know is when those frustrations come up, they come up as symptoms of something deeper going on beneath the surface. And that getting in touch with what's going on beneath the surface is the bigger work. And I don't want to call it work. I want to call it the big opportunity, because that's the stage that you really get to know yourself and you really get to know your partner. Now, with the high divorce rate, a lot of people think those frustrations mean we'll never get it together, and so we need to go our separate ways. No, no, no. Unless there's violence and abuse. If that's not a factor, then it's really important to look at what is trying to evolve beneath the surface, so that when you capture that and you get to know each other more deeply and know what it is that that other person that you value and love needs to feel loved and cared about. And also there's a lot of emotional, people call it emotional baggage. I call it unfinished business that needs to be attended to. And when it's attended to and you work together, you can navigate to stage 3. And that is mature love. That's where lasting love is. That is where you continue to, grow, and thrive together.
Wow. I love it. And I love the fact that the perspective of all of this is there's positivity, hope, optimism. There is this sense that, listen, just because that you're having bumps in the road or there's challenges and that kind of thing doesn't mean that, it's time to run, time to pack up and leave. That these are opportunities for growth that all of us can use in our relationship for expansion within those relationships and for ourselves, right? Because this is also a self-aware, self-growing kind of thing. Let's tackle this first stage, right? And kind of go over it. I think most people kind of know about it, which is this romantic love, right? My guess is you would say this is the Cinderella thing, the sparks when you first meet, some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger, that kind of thing. And your eyes look across the room and this is all. But my question is that correct? And there's some importance here, right? There's importance of this stage. It just isn't just because, right?
Yeah. So, because you need that attraction. And what's interesting about romantic love, and it is a wonderful phase of the relationship. What a lot of people don't know is that there's a conscious and a subconscious component to it. The conscious part is what you are aware of, the good feelings, and that is the time that both partners put their best foot forward in terms of showing up as the best version of themselves. Okay, so that's on one level. And the other part is the brain has released all these feel good hormones, and so that makes that romantic stage even more ecstatic. There's another part that's going on. There's this unconscious part that's saying, this is the perfect person who's going to push every single button that I have for the purpose. This time, I'm going to get the response that I need.
Right.
This time, I'm going to have the connection that I need. That's all beneath the surface. You know, people are just aware of, you just got on my last nerve. They're not aware of that is supposed to happen so that something beautiful can occur.
Can you repeat that last part just one more time around the button? That you're attracted to this person so that they can what?
Push every single button that you have of unfinished business.
Right.
Because the unfinished business is related to the blocks and barriers to showing up as the best version of yourself. Right. So it takes you out of denial. And the goal is not for that person to stop pushing your buttons. That's their job.
Right. You know, I think that is probably, you know, that is probably the biggest eye opener that all of us have that are in serious romantic relationships, right? That when they come into this awareness that, oh, well, they're supposed to push our buttons. This is all about growth, right? And that there has to be some type of quote unquote discomfort for us to recognize that there's work to be done, right? Or there's an opportunity for growth, I should say.
Yeah. And the work is personal.
Yeah.
It takes place within the sacred environment and context of a love relationship and marriage.
Right. Woo. You know, I'm already happy around where we're going with this. I think that there's probably a lot of people that are like, what? Really? Okay, let me stick around and find out more about this. So listen, Mom, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to move into the second stage, which is all about taking this from romantic love with the pushing of the buttons into the second stage, which is the power struggle. And we'll find out more about that right after these quick messages. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoy the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Well, hello, Washington, D.C. Looking good, looking good. A little overcast, but it's still a little warmer today. Thanks to our folks over at Earth TV for this gorgeous view of the White House and the Washington Monument. And thanks to all of you. We're back here with more on Soulivity today for our fantastic show here, talking about the latest relationship advice with noted relationship expert Melva Johnson. And we're talking about the 3 stages about, relationships. And we just came out of the one about romantic love, right? We're talking about, the beginning. But the most surprising thing about this that a lot of people don't know is what you just said. And that is this, during the romantic stage, this person is supposed to push every button that you have that's related to old stuff that you have that you've been probably carrying around. Now we move out of that into what you call is the power struggle. Sounds like something in a cartoon, but it's really real.
Yeah,
and there's some important things around this. Tell us what this stage is and what it means in terms of relationships.
Okay. So I misspoke a little bit about stage, the romantic stage. I mean, that's the honeymoon stage. The buttons don't get pushed so much. If they do get pushed, it doesn't feel significant because you're on drugs. You're on nature's drugs and euphoria and what have you. So that honeymoon stage you're in mostly bliss. So it is in the second stage when those hormones, when those good feeling drugs fade, and that's the reality stage. So there's power struggle in the reality stage because you look at this other person when they're pushing your buttons and you're saying, who is this person? Where did this person come from? And at the same time, that other person is asking the same question about you. Who is this?
Right.
They weren't like this, in the beginning. Wow. See, and here's the thing. Many times the things that people enjoy during the romantic stage kind of get on your nerves in the reality stage. So let's say one of the things that you adored about your mate was that they were thoughtful, they thought things through, they took their time to gather all the information before they made a decision. That's wonderful in the romantic stage. But when you get to the reality stage, that gets on your nerves, especially if you are a person who makes decisions right away. You have a lot of ideas. It's like you're trying to get going and this person is slowing you down. That becomes annoying. But see, you enjoyed it in the romantic stage, but now all the drugs are gone. And so now it's like, what? And then you annoy them because you're always moving and moving and moving. And you have this idea, you have that idea. You want to go here, you want to go there. And it's like, they just want to rest. That becomes annoying.
Right.
And then that's when it becomes a power struggle because right now you have a conflict in rhythm, needs, and maybe values that doesn't come up in the romantic stage.
And no relationship is exempt, right? They all go through this.
Right. It's part of the process.
Gotcha.
It's part of the process.
Gotcha.
And those are symptoms. That's like the tip of the iceberg of all the opportunities that are beneath the surface.
Okay. Wow. Why is this phase important, right? I think people who may hear this, who may be pseudo armchair therapists, they say, oh, well, this is just bringing up stuff and this kind of thing. But what has been your experience as an expert, why the power struggle and what people are going through within the power struggle is important?
Yeah, so there is adage, where did I hear this? and I really believe this is true, that love brings up everything unlike itself. And so
Mm,
if
mm.
each
Wow.
person is on this earth, and this is part of my belief system, that they have a purpose and a mission for being here, anywhere that they are out of alignment with that is going to come up in their relationship, especially their love relationships. It could come up at work too, but in the intimate relationships, it will come up because any underdeveloped part of self or undeveloped part of self is going to be reactive when you're in that reality stage, thinking it's all about the other person changing, not knowing it's all about the opportunities to get to know yourself and what is trying
Mm.
to grow and develop within.
Wow.
That's why the
Wow.
button pushing is so important. You
Wow.
can't just relax. Our
Mm-hmm.
brains, do you know, by the time that we're 7 years old, before our brains are fully developed, this
Mm-hmm.
is the research, that a decision has been made based on a composite of 7 years of being on this earth and the relationships and the experiences that you've had during those 7 years. A decision is made about who you are, who the other people are in your relationship, your parents, your
Mm-hmm.
caretakers, and what life is like. And then how to survive in whatever circumstances that you're in.
Wow.
And you take that decision and the years of experiences that follow, you take that programming into your life. It's hardwired in your brain. And that's
Mm.
the filter through which you make decisions and function in life.
Wow. Wow. And so we're just carrying that. And my guess is, depending upon during that experience of making that decision, based upon what your experience is, positively or negatively, like, strokes and stuff like that. We've had these conversations before. That's is part of the decision, right? That's part of what you believe relationships should be like, what you're looking for, and what you're going to attract. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with feeling connected to the people that you love. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing that
Mm-hmm.
you and I have talked about, and that is years ago in the beginning of training, there was a one of my colleagues wrote a book, and one of the things that she described in the book was um, she called it was during the days of transactional analysis, Eric Byrne and all that kind of work. So she described this whole thing, this whole notion of um, a stroke bank, meaning
Mm-hmm.
how many positive and negative experiences a person can expect on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you're 7 years old, you've had an experience of, if you need 10 experiences of connection a day, if your history has been that you only get 5, then you have to get that other 5. So you're going to act out in a way so that you can get a response, even if it's negative, so you can fill
Mm-hmm.
that bank. And then uh, Dr. Gottman um, did research on couples for over 30 years. And he talks about the love bank, which makes a whole lot of sense to me too. And that is when people don't put enough positive connections into their relationship. They've got to fill whatever their quota is. Well, they'll have more withdrawals than deposits, and they'll be in stress, and they'll be frustrated. They'll be in conflict because they don't know how to shift gears. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to navigate this reality stage because they don't know what it's all about.
Right. 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 And my guess is, like many of us, we don't know. right? We don't know, like you said, we don't know what this is about. We come into it with an expectation of what it's supposed to be. And a lot of times we believe that the romantic stage is just supposed to last forever. I mean, this is the classic Cinderella story, right? We meet the prince
Yeah.
or whatever, we meet the princess, we put on the ruby slipper or the ruby loafers, depending upon what the situation may be, and we ride off into the sunset together, and then that's the end. And then it's like, okay, well, great, but that's just the beginning, right?
It
Yeah,
is. And here's the other part. When you're in the reality stage, it doesn't mean that all of the good feelings have gone away. It
right,
just
right,
means that
right.
all of the good stuff that is happening in the relationship, it kind of goes on the back burner because you're
Mm,
overwhelmed and you're flooded with the
okay,
frustrations of what's not working. And the brain is wired to focus on what is not working.
not working. Right, 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 right. So we have to, in this stage, we have to learn and gain additional skills and tools to know how to navigate that and to turn what we believe is wrong into actually things that are really right for us personally and our relationship.
Hmm. Yeah. You know,
Wow.
the unconscious asks two questions on a consistent basis because that old brain, I call it the old primitive part of the brain, people try to deal with this logically, and that is important. However, you have to know where the greatest intense energy is, and that is in the subconscious. So it's like that old primitive brain um, is scanning 24 days, 7 days a week, asking two questions. We're scanning words, behaviors, gestures, tone of voice, asking two questions. One
Mm,
is, in this moment, am I feeling safe?
mm,
Am I
mm,
feeling safe from what this person
mm,
said, what this person did, emotionally safe?
mm.
Um, the second question is, am I feeling loved in this moment? Usually, when people are flooded with emotions, when their buttons are pushed, the answer is no to both questions.
Right, right, right.
So, what happens is that we're in a place, the brain kicks into that knee jerk survival mode. And that's when we get the fight, flee, freeze, play dead, hide, because people are protecting themselves. But they're not getting to the third question that is so important. And that is, what can I learn from this? What is
Ah,
trying to grow within me?
wow,
What is trying to
wow,
grow within our relationship?
wow, wow, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way of looking at it. Looking at the bigger picture, as Dad would say, the bigger picture. Um,
Hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of the bigger picture, there is a third stage to all of this, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I think, just the beautiful. It's the sunshine on your face, where both of you are happy and still maybe working out some things. But this is the mature love, right?
Yeah.
Mature love
Yeah.
stage, which is part of this. And can you tell people a little bit about what this means?
Yeah. So navigating the reality stage and working through that, the gold and the results is that you arrive at mature love. So there's some things that have to happen in the reality stage to bridge the gap from the reality stage to the mature stage. So that requires having a vision,
Hmm.
knowing exactly how you want your relationship to look like, feel like, be like. Um, that requires knowing what both parties need to feel loved and cared about. Uh, Dr. Gary Chapman calls it love language. In Imago, we call it being really clear about what the other person needs to feel loved and cared about. Um, Being aware of what's working and reinforcing what's working and working through what is not. Having fun. Um, Being appreciative of who the other person is, as well as what they do. I mean, 5 basic things, having that as the agenda. And when you are implementing that on a consistent, and the other one that is so important is being able to communicate, and having a way to make sure that you really know each other. There's another adage: one of the greatest experiences and expressions of love is to know each other and to feel known by the other. So having some kind of tool to be able to do that in terms of dialogue and communication. So when you're implementing that, every time you're implementing that, you're bridging the gap to more mature love. You're seeing the essence within the other person. You're seeing the value. You're responding to that. You're in the dream world. So it's like a better version of the romantic stage, because you conscientiously took the steps one by one to bridge that gap.
Wow.
And it doesn't mean that you won't have stress in your life. It doesn't mean that you won't have things that you have to deal with. But when they come up, you deal with it, work through it, and keep going.
Right. And what you were saying before sounds like true intimacy, right? And it's just not one way, it's both ways, right? That I see you and I continue to learn more about you, and as I do that, I feel validated, and because I feel seen and heard from you as well. That's a beautiful thing.
And there's something about feeling seen, heard, understood, valued, cared about, respected. I mean, when you're into that energy, see, here's the other thing. For me, what mature love looks like. So before Jesse and I became a couple, we did a lot of training, and we did a lot of training after we became a couple too. But before we became a couple, we were taking all kind of classes. Of course, I was dragging him to a lot of classes, but he came. So anyway, so one of the things that we were in a class like this for like 9 months, and it was based on the laws of success. And one of the things that we loved about that we applied to our relationship was this whole notion of having a mastermind. So we learned how the mastermind concept worked in business with Ford, Edison, Firestone, and all these other people. They went camping once a year, and they met together to support each other's businesses. And so the crucial thing that made it work was that they met, in a environment of peace and harmony.
Wow.
And what Napoleon Hill describes is when they were having those meetings, when they were connecting at the campfire, one thing that they were aware of was that there was a third presence there guiding all of them. And so they took that energy back to their lives. Wow. And so what we said was, we think that'll work in marriage. And so we focused on having a mastermind marriage. Actually, we had a mastermind kind of family too. So when couples get to mature love, it's like they're in that kind of environment. They're looking to lift each other up. They're looking to inspire each other. They're looking to many ways to enjoy each other. They're looking for how they can make those deposits in their relationship more and more. I mean, I delight in hearing when I work with couples, and I'll hear somebody said, "Yeah, I made a big deposit this past week." and sometimes they'll compete. It's like, "Oh, but I made this one," but it just brings, more joy, it's like you're in the big picture kind of energy about what
Right.
it's, because
Right.
relationships are not about pain. It's like when you have pain, you work through it, you heal it, you grow through it, because you want to get to that other part. You want to get that to that land of lasting love, and
Absolutely.
thriving,
A-
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Woo! This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. And we want to let everybody know that this isn't like we're going to be talking about these three stages. We're going to be going down deeper into each one of them as we move forward with you, Melva, with as we talk about relationships, and we even give advice and that kind of thing over Soulivity today, because all of these things are important, right? I mean, we're
Yeah.
peeling back the layers of what this is all about, but we wanted to start and give everybody a common framework as you start talking about different aspects and diving down deeper and deeper and deeper into different things. So thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us this information. Listen, we're going to
My
take a
pleasure.
quick break. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to take some questions from all of you for Melva. We're going to be doing this every time she's here during the last segment. We're going to take as many as we can while we have time, but stick around. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. You can find all of the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Well, hello, Paris. You are so beautiful, so beautiful. And we want to thank each and every one of you for being here with Soulivity today from all around the world as we talk about, relationship advice with Melva Thomas Johnson, who is a fantastic relationship expert. We got some questions for you that came
Okay.
in from our different chats. And we have it on Facebook and all this kind of thing. We're asking people about, hey, what kind of questions do you have for Melva? And so I'm trying to decide which ones I want to start with first, because they all came in at different. Maybe I'll start with this one because we haven't talked a little bit about children. This one came in late last night. It said, I've been in a relationship for many years now, and it seems that after the children have left our home, things are now really slow and dull. Does this mean my marriage is on a downslope to the end? And I think we kind of answered that before, but maybe this is something, because I think couples go through this, right?
Yeah. That empty nest phase, that empty
Yeah.
nest chapter. Downhill, absolutely not. Uphill, absolutely.
All
This is
right.
such a wonderful time to write the next chapters of your life together.
Wow. I
What do
love
you
that.
want it to look like and feel like? What are the things that you didn't have an opportunity to do because you were busy taking care of parenting, busy taking care of responsibilities at work, responsibilities of life, not having an opportunity to spend enough time together? It's like, oh, this is your time. This is your time. So, start off thinking about what are the things that we really want to do together? What do we want this chapter to look
Uh-huh.
like and feel like? What is it that's really going to touch our hearts? I mean, we have an opportunity to be together more consistently, just the two of you, just the two of us.
Mm, mm,
However,
mm.
at the same time, it's going to be important to make sure that you addressed all the unfinished business simmering beneath the surface that you didn't
Okay.
get to because the
Okay.
children were at home. And many
Mm-hmm.
couples just kind
Mm-hmm.
of push that down. And then when they become just the two of them, they start getting on each other's nerves. They and they grow apart. So both parts are important to figure out how you want to be together. And number two, to make sure that you're going into this new chapter with a clean slate. Is that what I want to call it? But to make sure that you have everything in order so you don't sabotage this opportunity. Because
Mm.
remember, that old brain is working all the time, all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm hearing that song. Just the two of us. You know.
Yes,
I
yes,
love that. I
yes.
love that. Let's see here. Let's go to this one. This is about again, this is probably something that you get on a consistent basis. It says, I've heard different takes on the importance and frequency of sex in any relationship. Is sex different from intimacy? What are the rules? And I guess you would probably say, women, there probably aren't any rules when it comes to this.
Right, right. And actually, the word rule, that kind of takes the fun out of any kind of intimacy. It's like, it's almost like being in a classroom and the teacher has a ruler. Yeah.
Right, right.
So, so here's the thing. Sex is such an important part of intimacy, and um, it's important for the couple to decide what works for them.
Mm,
So, and in the beginning, in the romantic stage, they don't talk about it. They have a sexual experience that they enjoy.
right.
So, but things um, can will shift after you've been together for a while, but then you keep talking about it in terms of what verbally and non-verbally, in terms of what's going to work for the two of you. I mean, making sure that you know what the appetizer is, the entree, and the afterglow. Just being aware of that. I mean, you don't have to think about it every single time that you're together, but to have that in your mind in terms of um, bringing forth the best of who you are to the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other person to show up in a certain way, it's important for each partner to show up in a way that they're totally present and into the experience. So, sexual intimacy. So you have to have the other forms of intimacy too, so that there's a
Mm.
balance. Because I've heard couples say we have great sex, but uh, after sex we don't know what to talk about. So um, so in
Well,
addition to sexual
done.
intimacy, you got to right, right. It's like people break up. That's one of the reasons why people break up. It's like that's all we have. That's all. So anyway, so then there's the conversational intimacy, and I mean that's just the day to day kicking it kind of conversation where you talk about nothing. It's
Right,
like uh,
right.
I remember when your dad would come home from work. He would come home with jokes. It was like, and we would all be sitting around laughing about, stupid stuff, but, we had that kind of exchange. And then, you guys, you and Paul would come up with jokes too. And it was part of our delightful experience of being together. So
Right.
light conversational intimacy. And then there's the deeper emotional intimacy where you talk about your impact on each other, the feelings that come up. That's the stage where it's really important to feel seen, heard, and understood. You have to have a way to deal with that and also deal with the unfinished business that's coming up. So that's an important part of intimacy. And then there's another part of intimacy is non-physical, non-sexual, holding hands, kissing, hugging, and that kind of thing. That ongoing intimacy. I've heard so many women say, yes, yeah, I enjoy the sex, but I also want just the day-to-day non-sexual touch as well. And then there's the intellectual intimacy where you talk about stuff, could be politics, whatever. But, when you're expressing your opinions, but doing it in a way when you disagree that is respectful to the other person. And then the last one on my list of the wheel of intimacy is spiritual intimacy. Where is God in your life? And how do you connect with God in your life?
Wow.
You got to have all of it so that you have balance.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. It makes absolute perfect sense. Listen, that's all the time we got for questions today. But listen, we are going to hang on to every question that we have, and we'll either post them to our chats, and then Melva, you can come back and answer some of those in our chats, or we'll just have them next time because you're going to be on Tuesdays a couple times a month talking about relationships. And so this is good stuff. That last question, I think I see a show in there for us around intimacy and how all that because I think people don't really understand the levels and different forms of intimacy that are all part of having a holistic, healthy, physical, emotional, intellectual relationship. Right? Because they're all part of that whole thing, right? That's there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You have something that's very, very special that you are going to be giving away just about on every show. It's a free gift. It's a very real important free gift. And it's this 10 secrets to having a long-lasting and loving marriage, but I would also say relationship, right? I mean, these are probably steps that people can use as they're a couple now, maybe moving into something more permanent. Can you tell people a little bit about this really quickly?
Yeah. So, I thought about the kinds of things that come up in one-on-one sessions and also the workshops that Jesse and I did together. And so I compiled like 10 things to take a look at. It's like a checklist for your relationship and to see on a scale of 1 to 10 where you are landing on the scale. Because if whatever areas that you have a low ranking on, those are the areas to pay attention to for growth. It's like, it doesn't mean that our relationship is going downhill. It means that these are the things for us to pay attention to so that we can go to the next level. What is it that Maya Angelou says? Dr. Maya Angelou says, when we know better, we do better. And if our unconscious is running the relationship, then we have to go into a reflective stage to see the big picture about what's going on so we can make it better and get to that third stage. It's like, these are the tools to get to the next step. Okay.
I love it. Well, we've made sure that we have this link in our chats. We're also going to have this on our website as well at soulivity.com in our breaking news section so that people can just go and click and go right to this beautiful free gift. Again, it's no cost. It is something that is there to support all of us because even I do this, and my wife, we do this stuff. We do this, try to do this work in our relationship. So, it's just not, we just not preaching to the choir here. It's for everybody to do this work together. And so, Mom, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this. Again, we're going to be having Mom Melva here with us twice a month on Tuesdays for this fantastic new segment, which is relationship advice with Melva, so that everybody can live a happier, healthier, and long-lasting relationship with each other. So thank you again for being here. Listen, we're running out of time, but I just want to let everybody know again, go check out the latest and greatest in Soulivity.com for more inspiration for your passion and purpose. Remember, we're going to also have this link to this fantastic gift from Melva in our breaking news section. There's also some other fantastic content, including Soulivity TV, which is broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your pleasure. There's all kinds of great content that's there. Also want to remind everybody, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our other social media channels, but specifically our YouTube channel at Soulivity Magazine, where you'll be alerted every time that we go live, including shows like this. And because this is how we do it, Monday through Friday. Also, if you have a podcast provider, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Soulivity Today is available there. So if you miss a show and you want to, listen to it again, feel free to go back to your podcast provider and check us out there. Also at soulivity.com. So listen, we're running out of time, but I just want to say to all of you, thanks again for being here for this Soulivity Today. Again, this is how we do it Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern on all the Soulivity social channels, or even better, for all of you guys out on the West Coast, you can listen or watch us on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. Love it, love it, love it. Listen, until next time, keep on pursuing your passion and purpose, and you'll create your best life today. We'll see you next time.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly